There are a couple of things that I wanted to comment on your discussion board post about Sue and Bill, specifically referring to the text in of Egan. And I want to highlight specifically chapter 4. That's about the therapeutic presence of how to tune in to clients. And so obviously this is a relationship like a husband and a wife, but at the same time, this can be super helpful skills, specifically looking at Sue and Bill's interaction. It appears that Bill is pretty open and he's pretty willing to share where he's at. And so yeah, he seems pretty open. It appears to be that Sue is being a little bit more um, not open and not not very helpful in him processing where he's at with interacting with his parent-in-laws. So specifically in chapter 4, um, they talk about how to make a dialogue second nature in your interaction with your clients of turn taking, connecting and not talking past the other person, and mutual influencing, and then co-creating outcomes. And all of this, like that whole, they do take turns, but she does tend to cut him off, not listen well, not really give space to co-create an outcome. So another thing that could help her would be, and in chapter 4, they also talk about the solar approach. So even it doesn't say specifically how they're communicating with one another, if they're sitting down, if they're looking at each other eye to eye. But some of these just basic approaches, like within just the solar um, format, could be really helpful. So like S for sitting squarely, O for open posture. I would imagine with the way she's responding, maybe she'd be closed off or maybe even turn slightly away from him. She seems to have kind of some preconceived notions as to what her outcomes are that she wants to see, but they're not, again, co-creating those outcomes. Lean towards each other. Again, I would imagine she'd be a little bit aloof, so lean back a little bit. Eye contact, actually, like, when you're communicating and really listening to someone, eye contact becomes completely natural. When you're not, it's harder. But the one that I really wanted to highlight was R for relax. And obviously, these are speaking about posture, but also I feel like this could have to do with even how you're responding. Because if you're tensed up in your body and not relaxing, you're going to be responding like Sue was when she literally says at times, like, you, all you ever think is about you, very animated, and it's your fault, and then exclaiming later at the end, grow up, those sorts of things. Those don't sound like she's in a very relaxed, communicative posture. So even just those basic things could help in bringing some perspective. Um, it talks about later in chapter 4 about active listening, and it specifically highlights avoiding poor forms. So specifically the ones that I see her, like Sue, demonstrating in this format is, or in this dialogue, is non-listening. Like literally, it's like it's not even really coming in. She's just spewing out what's coming to her mind. And then partial listening. So she is hearing some things. Let's see if I can find a like she obviously knows that he is having an issue. She asks, "What's your problem?" She does, it's kind of blaming, but she asks, "What's your problem?" And then she gives him a moment to communicate. So she's like kind of there. She's kind of partially there. She does want to see change, but she's not really giving much space to be able to make that. Another really great section in chapter 2 about in the Egan's book, he brings up the 4 major change questions, and clearly this is a situation where they're wanting to see change happen. And so within that, he talks about the current picture. So they bring that up, like, you're not getting along with my parents. This is the current picture, what's going on. Um, but then from that point, she doesn't necessarily listen to his concerns or the issue deeper. And then, which would be helpful. And then the stage 2 or next part is the preferred picture. So she doesn't really get into, obviously, she projects her preferred picture, but she doesn't get into what he is wanting, what his preferred picture is. And then number 3 is the way forward. So making plans. What can I do to create this better future? Obviously, they're going to be family forever, so they want to look forward to how they can do that well. And the last one is, how do I make it all happen, and putting into action and then evaluating. So those are just some of my thoughts on how they could do a better job in this conversation. Thanks so much.